Hey there everyone, it's Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy, here with Logan. And if you are watching this video, you are probably interested in RC submarines because that is what we do here at the Nautilus Dry Docks. This is our weekly update video, and it's a little bit of a weird one this week because we're catching part of last week because I didn't have a full video then because I was traveling. So you get a little bonus this week, an extra 2 days of cool stuff. So, hey, might as well get started. So, before we go too far, I wanted to let you know we got a new resource on the Nautilus Dry Docks, and that is Favorite Products page. And what this is basically a list of things that I get primarily off of Amazon, which I rely on heavily because it's so darned convenient. I've created a list of materials, products, tools, electronics, all of that kind of stuff that I source from that platform, and you can check it out there. Now, the cool thing about this, at least for me, is that when you click on those links, I get a little tiny commission from it. So by you buying that stuff, which hopefully you need anyway, it helps us out here at the Dry Docks a lot. So gives you everything kind of in one spot and also helps us out here. If you get stuff off of that platform or other places that you think other people would be interested in, send that information to me. I'll put it up on that list as well, and then we'll have this nice centralized resource where everybody can get what they need for RC submarines. And it's Thursday. As you know from my last update video, I was away for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday doing some consult work down in Florida for my old company, which was a ton of fun, and maybe you can tell I got sunburned because we went down early on a Saturday and hang out with some friends. So now I'm peeling like a snake. Like, not very cool. However, apologies for the molting. But we're going to try and get some stuff done here the next couple of days. Logan is working on... what are you working on?
This is the film for our resin printer, because across the last 4 days of constant use, got a little gummed up, so replacing the film on it so it's a little bit nicer.
I am packing up a couple of orders that came in while we were gone, and right now I'm going to do a quick test on this 82 automatic pitch controller that came back. Customer saying that it's not working. So let's give it a try, see if he's right, and if so, we'll send him a new one, and if not, I don't know, I guess we'll send him this one back. Alright, I guess this is how we're going to go about it. I got my servo tester, and for those of you that don't have one of these in your drawer, you need to invest. You can get them as cheap as like $5.99 on Amazon, or you can get, more complicated ones like this one. But regardless, a huge tool for allowing you to test everything out. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to plug in our automatic pitch controller. We're not getting a light. That's not a good thing. But we'll plug in our servo. Wait, nothing. It's not passing signal through. It's not lighting up. It's not doing anything. Well, I guess that was kind of easy. Double check our wiring, make sure that that's correct. Yeah. We'll try bypassing it, make sure the servo is working. So, it's a poopy pitch controller. That's going to go back to Kevin, and we'll send a new one back to customer. Get them all hooked up. Alright, back to Billy the Shark. Logan did something really cool while I was gone. Put these clear plastic extensions on the backs of these fins. So, what we're hoping this is going to do is obviously create more surface area for water to flow over. But what I'm going to do now, you can see I got the heat gun out, I'm going to heat this up gently and press it upward. We're going to create an upward rake on these fins, and that's going to create a moment that's going to drop the tail of the shark and hopefully help counteract the tendency of it to nosedive, all of that stuff. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to heat up these little fins and see if we can get a little bit of an upward rake on them, and we'll be throwing Billy back in the pool. So you got about a 30-degree rake on these fins, which is about what you want. Anything more than that, and they become less of a control surface and more of a brake. So it is Friday, and I am getting ready to fly our plane over to San Antonio to pick up a couple submarines. Going to meet Renee at our local airport. We're going to fly out, which means we've only had a few hours of time in the shop today, but we are still getting stuff done. Had some drama with Billy the Shark. Let's take a look at what's going on. So, actually it's not drama. It wasn't bad. It was fine. So Logan is making some weight packets here with those duck decoy weights that I've used in the past and you guys are all familiar with. Why, you ask, am I building weights if everything has all been trimmed up and everything? Well, the answer to that question is that the owner wanted us to repower Billy. So this is the battery that was previously powering it, 12 volts, so at a full charge, about 14 volts. Had everything all rigged up for a nice, tidy hold down for this. But he knows that those motors are rated at up to 6S, which is, like 22 volts. So, this is what we got going on. I just built these 10 amp in series for 6S running through here. I have to waterproof all of this stuff. I will say it may be worthwhile doing, and I'll eat a little bit of crow with this particular thing. I think these speed controllers are much happier with a higher voltage. They were working at the 12 volts, but I don't think they were happy. The ESCs would sometimes cut out, and I still think we were fighting that low voltage built-in fail-safe thing, even though we turned it off. So we ran it on the bench with these batteries running at the 6S, and they're super smooth. What do you think? Well, it seemed way better, right?
It was beautiful. It sounded like they were going like, I don't want to say properly. They still worked when we had it at 12, but they sounded good.
Yeah. The other drama that we had going on is it looks like these servos that we had in our waterproof boxes may be faulty from the factory. We are getting glitching in one, and I pulled it out. Just gonna forget about the whole waterproof enclosure situation, because if he ever needs to swap them out for maintenance or repair, he would need to, cut them open and put it back together again. So I just bit the bullet and bought some heavy-duty Metal Gear high-tech, high-torque digital servos. $110 each. But we'll engineer a solution that just bolts in the back and they'll be done and over with. So that is coming, should be here Monday. So in theory, we'll be able to throw Billy's Shark back in the water early next week and get that the heck out of here, because we need to get this Seaview done. So, probably going to be the last entry for this week. I'm just going to roll this in to next week's. We didn't really get a lot over the course of the last couple of days, so we'll just add it all for a big full-length feature next week. Talk to you guys on Monday. So Renee and I are in San Antonio, Texas, and as I said before, we were flying out here to pick up some submarines. Unbeknownst to me, there's a lot more submarines being offered than I was initially made aware of. So we took that And now we need to put all of this in there. One of them being a 7-foot long U-boat, and the other one being a 6-foot long skipjack, plus a whole bunch of other kits. So we're going to make that effort. We're going to get super creative, and we're going to see if we can fit it all in there. So it's good I brought my airplane elves.
I'm travel-sized.
Well, a very good morning. This is actually Tuesday. And if you've been following along very carefully, you'll have realized that there was no content yesterday. And the reason for that was because we were busy. We got a new vehicle. And it took all day to buy it. Mostly because Renee wanted to chew on it a little bit over lunch and then go back. But happy to say we're rocking a new vehicle. Super awesome Ford Mustang. But probably not the one that you're thinking of. Yes, it's the Ford Mustang Mach-E, which it's not really a Mustang. I know that, you know that, Ford knows that, but they decided to go ahead with it anyway. All-electric vehicle. Now, for you electric naysayers out there, I'm going to say you probably not owned an electric vehicle, and I have for 3 years, and they are awesome. I am not a climate warrior. I bought this because it is better in every conceivable way than an internal combustion vehicle, with the exception of range. This is 300-mile range. My comment to that is, if you're a bricklayer, don't buy a Mini. If you're a father of 5, don't buy a Ferrari. And if you need to drive more than 300 miles in a day, every day, don't buy an electric vehicle. It's as simple as that. I mean, do you give people a hard time when they drive a big pickup truck but don't put anything in the back? Like, chill out. It's cool. I love electric vehicles. They're absolutely the way of the future, and if anybody wants to debate me on that, do it privately. Don't fill my comments up with that crap, guys. At any rate, lots of cool things. Over the weekend when we were in San Antonio, you saw we picked up that stuff. I want to show you a little bit closer what we managed to grab. So we got a few things here. Obviously, you can see we've got a Revell Gato that's just barely started. All the pieces there and everything. That'll probably find its way to the site at a really discounted price. This poor thing was a 3D printed 571 Nautilus. That's going to be repaired and probably offered at, again, a really, really reasonable price. OTW Type 7, that's been barely started. For whatever reason, I sold this originally to a gentleman like 6 years ago. And for whatever reason, the previous owner decided to fill all the slots that were in it. I guess in an effort to make them like ultra super accurate or whatever, but I think those would get knocked out really easily. Has everything, including a really awesome conning tower. Of course, I got to find it in here. This was all 3D printed in high strength nylon. Really, really nice details in here, and steel railing for the Winter Garden area, and steel guns as well. So that's really cool. Also ended up with a 48 scale Vallejo tower from the same guy. So that's kind of cool too. I don't really have a 48 Vallejo to put on it, but that's all good. And then last but not least, I also got this 48 scale skipjack, which is done up as the Shark. I built this 6 years ago, and you can find the video on my channel. Encountered a little damage on the way back. I got to fix up the back there, but super minor. And if I remember, this thing worked really good. So I'm excited to get this thing back in the water. The previous owner and I are just working on a deal, so we're going back and forth. Probably by the time you see this video, it'll be all locked up, and you'll start seeing these things pop up on the website. But got one more thing I'm super excited about as well, and that is this 1/350th scale Polar Lights refit Enterprise. Now this is the Enterprise I grew up with. I know a lot of you guys are all about the original Enterprise. That was before my time. That was like 60s era. I was born in 76. So this is what I grew up with. motion picture in Star Trek II, which is my favorite Star Trek movie of all time. But I'm going to build this one up for myself, and we're going to hang this in our theater room. And I got a lighting kit on order from the UK. I'm excited about this bad boy. It's like 35 inches long when it's all put together. So a couple of things I'm going to be working on today. I got this cylinder from a customer. He says it won't power up. So going to find out what's wrong. Probably just the remote switch, I'm thinking. Shouldn't take too long to diagnose. And then I got the new waterproof servos for Billy. Where is he? Oh, you can't see him. Here's his tail, though. Those just need to get installed. And the batteries that Logan waterproofed for me yesterday need to get a mounting issue, scenario, configuration figured out for that thing. And then it'll be ready to test once again. And then the rest of the week is all on big Cview here. This needs to be done by this time next week. So 1 week to finish it all up. I think we're close. Basically, the upper deck is all done. Just got to install the gills in here, do a sand, hit the whole thing with some paint, some modifications to the control room to make it fit properly. Getting really close. So, all right, servos came in for the shark. Now, I was all ready to unbox these things and show you how ridiculous it was to have paid $110 for a servo. And then I opened the box and suddenly realized maybe the value's there. This thing is like 3 by 3 inches and like 1.25 inches wide with all machined aluminum center section in there. This is the high-tech, what is this? The D845 waterproof servo. I think this is going to work. I think this is going to be a good solution for Sharky's pectorals, Billy's pectorals. So all I've got to do is unscrew this round thing and put on this large horn and just bolt it down, and it'll be ready to go. Have to swap this out for waterproof connector going into the box. Pretty exciting. Okay, these are probably worth $110. I will say that. So we'll get on this in a minute, but I got to get that cylinder looked after before I can clear off room on the bench. So let's go take a look at that thing and figure out why it's not turning on. All right, ladies and germs, I haven't even torn into this thing yet, and I can already tell this is going to turn into a project. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. So this is the forward part of the cylinder, and you can see there's a little problem right here. We've got a chip out. Now the problem is this lip is what compresses this O-ring and creates a seal on the face of the tube. Big problem. Another thing that concerns me a lot, this cylinder's filthy. There's mud everywhere. I'm wondering if this boat got sunk and sat for a while and perhaps flooded. I don't know. O-rings are also incredibly cracked. And I don't know if you can see in here. They're all cracked and split. That obviously is not a good situation either. They're really bad. So at the very least, I'd recommend replacing all of the O-rings in this entire system. I'm going to check and see, the power on situation, see what's going on with that. If this did flood, that is going to be the first thing that goes. These remote switches do not like getting wet in the slightest. So I'm going to try and peel this off. I've already taken these nuts off, and this is like fused to the... There we go. We'll see if we can make this power up. I'll throw some power on it, listen for the click. If not, very likely the switch. So in typical fashion, this is what ends up happening. I just, for the sake of ease, just bypassed this and went straight to here to run power to the switch, fully expecting that nothing was going to happen. Radio's turned on, and it works. No problem. Oh, except the Throttle's not working. No throttle. I wonder if that's what he meant. And then, so those all work. The pump works. So it's just maybe the speed controller? I don't know. Alright, continued weirdness going on here. So, I hooked up the electronic speed controller directly to servo tester, but you'll also notice that the receiver is powered on. This is not a good situation, and I'm going to tell you why. Because this has a built-in battery eliminator circuit that's feeding 5 volts to the receiver. This has a built-in 5-volt power regulator, which is feeding power to the receiver. You're double feeding this. That is bad. Bad, bad, bad. Only one power source for your receiver. Be that a standalone BEC or your ESC. Do not double feed your receiver. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but this is behaving weird. You can see I'm at 1500 for the settings on the servo tester here. I'm going to go all the way down to 800, and we're just going to watch that motor shaft. Nothing. Okay, this is 2200. It's going, it's stopping, it's going, it's stopping. Go the other way, it goes, stops. It's not behaving properly. So I'm thinking the electronic speed controller may be pooched. I don't know if I have another one, so I mean I'm going to have to order one. So I can try and swap that out and see what happens. Everything else is working though. I don't know what channel this is connected to, but I just left all that alone. So I guess I'm going to go see if I have another electronic speed controller, put it in place, see what happens, and again, by the way, what you do is you take your power for your speed controller and pull out that red wire. Disconnect it. Either snip it or just push back that plastic tab and pull the pin out so that it's not feeding power to the receiver. Okay, we have a plan. So Bob is done with this cylinder for the time being. Reason being, these electronic speed controllers, let me just go this way so you can see me, are causing me nothing but grief. Now this is a Quick Run 1060. I've actually had good luck with these. This is what was in it. Now it was pooched. It was putting out like a 10th throttle at full throttle, and it was glitching like you guys saw, so that was obviously not going to go very well. I had this other one, which is like a 1060 knockoff, but it would not work. And I've run into problems with these before, with these cheap Chinese electronic speed controllers. You know, it's like one of those 1 in 10 or 1 in 4 are bad. Now Radiolink is a bigger company, but their electronic speed controller, there's like 4 different jumpers. You have to have them all in there. There's like a programming thing where you have to like hold your hand over your head and hop on one foot and recite the national anthem in order to make things work. I went through all of that, had it working properly with the servo tester, hooked it up to the receiver, and nothing. I'm done with it. We're just going to step back from this whole project. This cylinder is the last thing that I need in the shop right now. This is going to be a major undertaking. This has to be completely replaced because this is going to be a major piece of work to repair so that it doesn't leak. You know, all of these linkages need to be out. The wires need to be rerun. All of the tray, which is, you know, glued to the bulkhead, that all has to be cut free, rebonded. I do not need that right now, so I'm going to have a little chat with him. I'll let him know what's up. If he's okay with having this thing wait like a month, maybe that'll be fine. I don't know. We'll see. For now, I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to work on Cview. That is the priority right now, and when I need a break from that, it's back onto the Shark, get his servos, new servos, installed and tested. Alright, wrapping up for the day. I elected to work on the Shark. Maybe not the right choice, but whatever. I really want to get this off the bench, because if we can test it, I can ship it out, and I can get it out of my shop and not have to worry about it. Here are the servos. So, as you can see, these are monstrous suckers. What I did is I used a zip tie to lock them together, and then an aluminum bracket to hold it down. So these are completely locked in place and very easy to remove. One bolt, a snip, and they're out. Just like before, they're very, very easy to adjust. We've got adjustable linkages in there so that we can set the angle and everything. And I made a new mounting bracket for the twin 10 amp 3S LiPo batteries rigged up in series for 6S. Now the fans, the thrusters, are working much better, a little smoother than they were before. So, you know, the specs for the ESCs are probably a little bit misleading. They said 3 to 6S. Realistically, I think it's more like 4 to 6S for proper operation. The other thing I have to do is get a voltage regulator to drop 24 volts down to 12 volts, because our eyeballs are 12 volt LEDs, and the electronic speed controller that used to live in here will not handle 24 volts. And so we're just going to put a power regulator in there. You plug in power and lights come on, and away you go. It's a little unfortunate. Now you don't get to play with, you know, switches, and yeah, I know there's ways around it, but the budget was not in there to play around with it, and I need to get it out of here. So we are at the point now where realistically we could throw it in the pond tomorrow if the weather is good. We'll see how things go. It's supposed to be rainy this weekend. We'll just have to play it by ear. So I'm going to pack up the shop here now. I got to go do a bunch of emails, pay for some boats, and we'll hit the ground running tomorrow. Wednesday afternoon, and been hard at work today. Not on the things I wanted to get worked on. Just started working on the Seaview here a couple of minutes ago. Most of what we did was packing up more orders, right? We got some Nautilus kits packed up. We got a bunch of stuff over to storage. We took a bunch of pictures of that stuff. So all that stuff that was in the garage, that's mine. We closed the deal, so I'm going to go ahead and list that here this afternoon after we're done in the shop. So might be up by the time you see this video, it might not. Good stuff, though. That Type 7 was way better than I thought it was. So Logan's working. Why don't you go over there and show them what you're working on?
I've already cleaned up, actually. That's what we wanted was next. But all I did was just knock off the outside supports.
Oh, yeah, you can't even tell those were there. Nice job. Yeah, because what we need to do here now is shape this wall so that it conforms. Yeah, so that it fits nice and perfectly flush. So we got to do some grinding and basically cut this corner a little bit. And these were just barely on the inside here, so this is going to look much better anyhow. Was working on some torpedo kits. We put a torpedo kit together. Torpedoes are in here all ready to ship out. Torpedo launchers are just curing right now. They'll be ready to box up in the morning. And I'm working on lights. So when Frank did this, he pre-wired it, which is super awesome. But the problem is these wires don't move. They're locked in place. So can't move these out. And I need to put LEDs on there. So this is the best solution that I came up with. That's about as short of a solder connection as I can make with the resistor being there. So I'm going to make a little, maybe we'll use brass.
A shroud?
Yeah, you know, just something to take up that little extension area so that it looks cool. More like a Cadillac fin from the old Cadillacs, which is what this was modeled off of. In the new ones, in the production versions of these will be free moving, and you'll be able to just tuck this LED right tight against the end of this little nasal thing here. But these are still going to look super cool. I can't remember if I showed this to you guys. These like helical props. Those are badass. Those look really cool. Yeah, so we're going to continue working as much as we can on this. I'm starting to mark out the gill slits, and we're still waiting on the ESCs for that cylinder over there. Alright, good morning everyone. It's Thursday today. Garbage day, in case you were wondering. Working on a couple things. We got some orders shipped out already this morning, and some work on the cylinder. We got a new electronic speed controller. I kind of like this. Obviously Chinese. You can tell by the font they use. This is like Chinese font. But it's a nice size, and seems to be working really well. So I started, Logan rigged up the controller, the connections, the Dean's connections. Tried it first with the electronic speed controller. It's working perfectly. Now we got on the radio, and forward and reverse. Always a good thing for a submarine. So that's done. Customer wants us to try and repair the broken end cap. Could be interesting. We'll have to figure out what material and how we're going to do it so that the face is perfect without removing the end cap from the whole cylinder. So focus on Seaview, even though Logan is working on the Shark. So let's go visit Logan. So along with the speed controller, we got converter. And what's cool about this, and I didn't know this when I ordered it, this is completely encapsulated in resin. So the only thing that's exposed are just these leads. So what we're going to do, we're going to fire this up right now, and in typical fashion, if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. You guys are going to be the first to find out alongside us. So let's see what happens. We'll fire up. Just so you know, that's going to make a big pop when you connect it. Just push it. Ta-da! Demon Shark lives. Calm your jets. That seems to be working so much better.
It sounds so much smoother.
Progress. But we are off the storage because we got to get a box for that big Type 7 that we sold. Listed up yesterday, we sold like everything within an hour, I think, except for the Gatto. The Gatto is still available if you guys are looking for it. All right. Well, off to storage. We just found something kind of funny. So this little dude came with the skipjack, but let's take a closer look at him. I think he's kind of funny. Logan found him, so he looks kind of normal. But if we go off to the side, I think this guy needs to think about a diet. He's definitely got a paunch on him. I just think that's funny that they modeled the Watchman with a big gut. Alright, as you can see, we got Seaview outside. It's like, I don't know, it must be 90 degrees outside. It feels like 90 degrees outside. Which is better than the alternative. Could be cold and nasty out. You can see I got the gills installed on all four positions, top and bottom. These were scaled from the DeBoer version that I had done earlier on. I can make these more accurate to the movie, but this is what I had right now. I just got a bunch of really awesome reference material from Gary Kerr. And he sent me a whole bunch of reference information and photos and measurements. He scaled it all to 48 for me, which was super awesome. So when we go into production on these kits, we're going to have some really accurate parts that we're going to be able to offer. These ones, because I didn't know any better, were based off of the DeBoer kit, which had some inaccuracies. So the next versions that I produce will look much, much more like the movie and TV version, but this still looks epic. I love it. You can see we got a bunch of filling done on the hull. We're just waiting for this to fully kick off before we do some sanding. And now that it is out, we're going to grab the command bridge, and we're going to start doing some fitting in the bow there. And Logan, in the meantime, has been working on this cylinder because I decided to get it off the bench forever instead of just off the bench.
So, got the big old chip here. So what we figured we would do is we got some of this clear acrylic. Don't know where the larger sheet is. Oh, here it is. Clear acrylic from this sheet. Made just a small bar with it. We measured the radius of the cylinder here. Made a similar cut. So now we've got a, I'm going to say pretty close to form-fit curvature. We clamped it on, and I figure we're just going to go ahead and put some epoxy there. See about giving it the hard edge back.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to need to do, we're going to have to drill some small little micro holes in here for the epoxy to bite into. And then we're going to have to smear the acrylic with some mold release, but just the acrylic. And then we'll epoxy the boogers out of that. And between the holes and everything, I think it will hold pretty tight. I think it's going to work pretty good. And it'll half-ass kind of sort of look clear, which may help mitigate some of the cosmetic issues of that particular brake. Oh, Gracie, you make a really poor worker. Yes, you do. Oh, now you're up. You only get up. You only get up for company, not when it's time to do your job.
To quote Rocket Raccoon, I sleep for the work, awake for the money.
So we got the bottom of the Seaview sanded. You can see it's just ever so slightly dusty. We're going to blow this off. Logan's going to blow it off, and then we're going to hit it with some high build primer and see where we are at from a fit and finish perspective. So make sure you blow that way, not into the shop.
Yep.
So we silicone the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
To stop the epoxy from leaking out, and it's pooling in there. Logan's going to put another batch on there to thicken that up and strengthen it. Could probably go down even like 1/8 of an inch, overlap the face.
Yeah, because we can always sand on top of it.
Yeah, well, and it'll just give extra support. So that's coming along nicely. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be shaping and sanding and finalizing. That would be cool. And we've got a gigantic Cview. I don't think it looked bad for a first pass. We just hit it with high build. Few tiny areas, little tiny scratch here that we missed. That was dust. We didn't clean it very good. Hurrying. But other than that, I think it actually turned out pretty good. Right here, we'll hit a little bit more. So we'll hit that again with some sandpaper, another coat of primer maybe, and then flip it over, hit the top. So that is going to do it for today in the shop. Off to do some emails. Had some disconcerting messages from the first couple of people that got Nautilus kits. They said that their salon kits only half showed up, and there were a bunch of broken pieces. You know what kills me is I had these printed overseas. They made it all the way over here with no damage, and yet when they ship it from like here to a state over, broken. So, I mean, small pieces like grating and stuff like that. But not to worry. We'll get it all figured out, and other than that, they're really happy with the kit, so that is great news. So Logan's going to finish up working on that. I'm going to pack it in here, go reply to all these people, and hit the ground running tomorrow. Alright, got a few things going on here since we last touched base. You can see we've got the upper deck for Seaview has been painted. Waiting for that to dry. I removed the upper part, and you can see the really cool bridge or sail area. I'm waiting for the radar pit to finish printing, then I got to install, fill, and sand that, and then this will be ready to go to install. Logan's finishing up that cylinder, just boxing it back up. It's all done. Just waiting on the last of that epoxy to cure. We did a second batch up there to thicken it up and just make it super strong. So that can't go back on until after that's all cured. And we've got the body of Seaview suspended from the garage door racking here. Reason we did that is number one is likely to rain in a little bit, so I don't want to be outside for that. And number two, I already painted the bottom. So we have a white belly on the boat, and in my experience, even after a day or two, that paint is still just a little soft. And so if you put the boat on a stand, it mars the paint. So we're just going to paint this and continue to work on it as it's suspended from the ceiling right up until we need to go. And again, the reason for that is because this is going to be suspended from the ceiling. So unlike most models, the bottom is the most important. So we're going to make sure it turns out good. We're going to get some paint on this thing here right away. Let that dry and move on to some lighting. I think we'll start working on the LED lighting routing, and yeah, truck right along. We got T-minus 4 days to ship this thing, but it's coming along really good. I think we're going to be okay. Alright, that is going to do it for this week, I think. We've got Cview curing, decks all curing, the cylinder parts curing. So really we're kind of in a holding pattern here. So I'm going to go jump on the computer and edit this video, and we're going to hit the ground running first thing next week. And I'm probably going to continue work this weekend on the electrical and everything for this, so maybe the video will continue tomorrow or Sunday or something. But with that, I guess we'll let you go for this week. We'll leave you with a couple of videos. We'll put one over here. We're going to put up the, which one did we say we were going to put up? Skipjack! Yeah, because we just got that shark, which we're going to be testing when I get back. And on the other side, we'll do a Type 7, because we just sold that other Type 7. That was a big 30-second, or no, not 30-second scale OTW Type 7 that I did a while back that turned out super cool. So with that, on behalf of myself, the RCSubGuy, Bob Martin, and
Logan, somewhere back here.
there he is, and Gracie. You guys have a good weekend, and we'll catch you next time.